Hello, Gravitrons. I'm more gravity. Let's play chess. Okay. Let's review that game. I'll let the computer generate its input into the review. Do its own review, and then we're gonna go over that game. Let me. Okay. Both sides played. From the looks of it, a very, very great game. The break came at about 13 moves in, and we played. Both my opponent and I played very accurately. I'm glad to have won. All right. So one thing I'm gonna do actually here is play this out, finish this out against computer. Okay. Alright, so we see that white has all the remaining pawns, and generally doing quite well. This is a sort of an end game, a dry end game, but white has so much extra firepower that I'm not too worried about converting this to a win. I'll push this pawn to attract the black king. Right now we can already get away with h5, and again now here we play h6. And I think the f pawn's gonna have a good time. I think the f pawn's almost got to made on the sheet, as they say. All right. Careful not to Stalemate the position. Alright. Alright, so that wasn't the best finish accuracy-wise. We'll review the game with that included anyway, because it's the only of this game all the way to finish. How about that? Alright, e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and I played Ruy Lopez. This position is the defining position of the Ruy Lopez. Black has tried many things. a6 immediately. Knight f6, I believe, is the Berlin defense. And then there's some more passive or solid or both openings, like pawn to d6. Bishop c5 has been tried. So it's a lively opening. The Ruy Lopez is a lively opening named after a Spanish monk in the late like 1580s, 1590s, and he was the strongest player of his day. And his name was Ruy Lopez. This was one of the openings he used. Something else about Ruy Lopez. It's sometimes called the Spanish game, because Ruy Lopez was Spanish. Right. D6 is one of the more solid, older, and more passive opening ways to treat that move for black. Not quite openings, but ways for black to treat move 3. I like to tear open this center right away, or at least that's what I did here. And then there's nothing wrong with exchanging on e5. Kind of got maybe a little bit greedy with e takes d6. And I thought my opponent would capture back with his bishop, so as to develop into a safe square and also capture the pawn. And perhaps there's some issues with white pushing pawn to e5, though not immediately. His pawn to e5 is just knight takes e5, knight takes e5, bishop takes e5, and black will see himself a pawn ahead after all that. Compared to here, 2 pawns ahead, back to level, back to equal material, because the capture of the first pawn, and then so on. C takes d6. Castles kingside is a good moment for white to get his castle in on the king side. Bishop e7. Just good developing moves. Here I decided to play bishop to e3. Just make sure that this knight does not get any ideas of galloping around white's territory here. It's a developing move. It's more active than d2. It's not as assailable as bishop to f4. So I thought it was the safest of the moves available to white's dark squared bishop. Knight to f3 is good. Strikes at the undefended pawn on e4. White can't push to go past because there's some complications, but they'll turn out in black's favor, at least slightly. And gets the knight developed. Black's ready to castle on the next move or soon thereafter. And this move, bishop takes c6. Bishop takes c6. I don't know. It's not a horrible move. Doesn't lose the game. A little bit, maybe early. And how about piece value? Technically, this is my bad bishop, but he's pretty darn free. Outside the pawn chain, there's a missing link at d3. The missing link. I don't know. Sounds a little too Raf. Or is yeah, a little too Raf. Techno global move would be to go to d3 and play a very strong, tall pawn in the center here. I felt like exchanging minor pieces, so I did on c6, and we come across this position where I'm almost not required, but if I want to hold on to this pawn, one of the best ways for me to do so, other than knight moves from b1, would be to push the pawn, and that opens up other opportunities and move possibilities for my opponent. The capture on f3 should garner black a pawn. Black's going to get the pawn on e5. So I think that kind of gets to the heart of why. That gets to the heart of bishop takes f3. The queen is now neatly and nicely developed in a way that she can't immediately be assailed by any pawns or pieces. She's also doing a great job at controlling the potentiality of the knight on f6. Black gets his, her, or they pawn. Darius, that's a man's name. So black gets his pawn by capturing on e5, and white captures on b7. Now there's some dynamicism in the position. White now retains a one pawn material lead. Some normal moves. The bishop drop. Okay. Well, yeah, no. That was the storyline of the game. That bishop b4 here is a total error, and white's just gonna reduce material, stifle counterplay, and capture pieces and pawns. Right, like sometimes the best move depends on who's ahead in material. Here we have knight takes e4, knight takes e4, queen takes e4. Okay, so we've traded two pieces, but in this position, white's best move, queen to d3, is only the best move, so long as black doesn't have a queen and a knight hidden behind this. Behind his king here. This is a queen on g8 and a knight on h8. This is bad. Then this is a bad move. We're getting rid of one of our only pieces to be able to fend back or make things complicated. This is almost just about a forced trade of queens, but black's got this queen on g8 and a knight on h8. Still got his rooks and pawns are involved, but otherwise, since they're not there, then queen to d3 is the way to go. We see the tactic when the queen moves to d3, she's protected enough against queen captures, and black's queen cannot flee to avoid capture, for otherwise he would be exposing black's h7 king, and that can't be done by the rules of chess. This move is not allowed. You know, you could try to. You could try. could try to protect the queen with pawn to f5, but white's just going to initiate the trade anyway. Alright, so this is only the best move because white's ahead in material. I got a thumbs up for excellent. Yeah, it's best. This is the best move. It kind of costs this pawn on b2 though, so maybe that's why it's excellent instead of best. I'd say that makes sense. I gave a queen and a pawn in exchange for my opponent's queen. All right. Still gonna close the game out with some trades here. The king is gonna be moving to a place where if he's back rank checked, he's more active than h2. A little bit of confusion here, and now white finds the best move with bishop to c1. And black's gonna lose some material and one tempo of initiative by screening white, hurrying away from the attack that white's f4 bishop is currently levying against the rook at e5. There's some nuance here. The main idea, I guess, would be to get the king active. Dust up some pawns, and white has an overwhelming advantage here. These moves played out against computer, by the way. My opponent actually abandoned technically after white's 43rd move, after white's 43rd move, rook takes h6. So by where we are at this point, we're looking at more gravity playing against the computer on its maximum level. The H pawn has its path ready, so just very sort of nuanced here. Update this a bit here. Alright, that's it for this session, folks. I believe I'll be on sometime in the early to mid-afternoon today. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Gravitrons. I'm More Gravity. Have a great night.